Hello Internet, Gino, aka That Pinguino, here again with another deep look. This time I'm going to be taking a look at Final Fantasy IX for the PlayStation 1, and I'm going to be doing that as part of my ongoing preparations for the Giantbomb Community Endurance Run, which runs from Friday, April 10th through Sunday, April 12th, and we are going to be raising money for Pencils of Promise, a lovely charity that builds schools, trains teachers, and sends kids to school in developing nations. So you should go to the front page of Giant Bomb, go to the Community Endurance Run thread, check out how you can donate for this awesome cause. We've got a whole bunch of prizes. You can donate to have Final Fantasy IX characters named after whatever you want. A whole bunch of cool stuff. You should check it out. So the reason why I'm recording this video today is to show off some early speedrunning tips for bosses from about the end of Disc 1 through a little way into Disc 2. And it's going to begin with the battle with Beatrix, the very first battle. What you need to know about the first battle with Beatrix is that you do not need to kill her. It is pretty hard for your characters at a low level in a speedrun to actually beat her in combat. So the better approach is actually to move your party members to the back row, equip Freya with the Linen Cuirass item that gives her the ability to use cover. When your party members are in low health other than her, she will step in the way and take damage for them. And also give her the Coral Ring, which is the item that you'll get when she wins the Festival of the Hunt. The Coral Ring will allow Freya to absorb Beatrice's Thunder Slash, which is one of the three moves she uses. She uses Shock, which will one-hit kill whoever it targets. She'll use physical attacks that deal about 100-150 damage per attack. And then she will use Thunder Slash. And so if Freya has the opportunity to sometimes absorb Thunder Slash, that will keep her in high health without you having to use items to heal her. This entire time while Freya's covering for everyone, Vivi is basically your healer and Freya's your other healer. Both of them should be using potions and Phoenix Downs in case anyone gets knocked out, and Zidane should be stealing because Beatrix actually has an item, I believe it's the Chain Plate, that you want to steal. This entire battle is more a battle of endurance and patience, just making sure that you're constantly healing and keeping Freya in good health. After a certain point, Beatrice will just use Stock Break and end the fight, and you'll be reduced to 1 life. Taking her down would be pretty aggressive. You would probably have to get the Thunder Staff for Vivi, and even then, I don't know that you'll be able to defeat her fast enough. Before she gets hurt, she actually uses 10 attacks, and then we'll just end the fight. It's actually pretty safe to just wait it out. The next battle I want to show you is the battle with Black Waltz 3, because like so many of the early battles in Final Fantasy IX, the battle with Black Waltz 3 has a weird tweak to the AI. It has some odd conditions. Early on in the game, Garnet is kind of a special character. There are a lot of battles where people will not kill her, and so if she's the last person standing, you just win. There's some battles where if she's the last person standing, they will target everyone but her, and if she's the only person standing, you lose. Black Waltz 3 is another one of the battles where if she's the last person standing, you win, except unlike the earlier battles where the battle just ends, in this case, Black Waltz 3 will attack itself rather than attack Garnet. Early on in this battle, what you want to do is attack with Marcus and Steiner and Garnet. She should have the Multania Racket that you can find in Southgate. If you miss it, she can use the Air Racket. It won't deal as much damage, but it's not terrible. If Steiner gets knocked out, what you want to do is have Marcus kill himself so that Black Waltz 3 enters the part of the battle where he will start damaging himself and stop attacking. That way, you don't have to deal with any of Black Waltz 3's animations, like Thunder or Fire or Hit, and Freeze, that attack that it just did, will just stop you and force it to use 2 more rounds of damage. So you don't want to see those animations. Just take out Marcus. Have Marcus finish himself off. Just like I did. There's nothing worth stealing here, so Marcus should be on the offensive. And now you just need to wait. Black Waltz 3 will eventually kill himself. And just have Dagger/Garnet help him along. Also, good thing to note, if you have the Multania Racket or the Air Racket and give her a feather hat, that raises wind damage, and that will make this fight go a lot faster. So, when you first get to Treno, another thing before the next boss battle is when you get to Treno, you want to watch the Treno Tradition ATE. Usually you don't want to watch any ATEs, but in this little cutscene, Dagger gets mugged by this four-armed man. You can later on find the four-armed man and find what he bought with her money. And since Steiner is big and intimidating and rusty, he can get the item from that guy because he's just so intimidating. I'm just going to go down here and go around the bend and run into the four-armed man. What he bought is a power belt, and the power belt is an accessory that you don't get until later on, way later on in Disc 2. And this item gives you a pretty big strength boost, and it teaches the MP attack ability, which is it's a really powerful ability. It lets your characters who are low on level deal damage as though they were several levels higher at the cost of MP, but most of your attackers don't use their MP for anything else anyway, so it's just a pure damage increase with no real downside. The reason why I got the belt before this fight with the pink worm, I know it's got a real name, I just can't pronounce it. It's big and long. Steiner needs that belt to be able to kill this thing pretty quickly. The pink worm has 2 attacks you really need to worry about. It's got String, which will slow a party member, which is bad. It has Devil's Kiss, which will poison. Steiner and Dagger should be immune to poison, but if they aren't, for some reason, you're going to need to use an antidote and cure. The important thing is, because I got that belt, Steiner has MP attack and Bug Killer, and both of those abilities stack, which allows him to go from dealing about 200 damage to dealing 500, and that leads to him ending this fight by himself in about 4 or 5 attacks. If your characters are really low level, you haven't run into many battles, you're going to want Steiner to be the only person attacking, and Marcus and Dagger being healing, just pure healing. If you are a little bit higher level, maybe you ran into a couple of battles you didn't want, you can be a little more aggressive, having Dagger and Steiner and Marcus attack, and that'll make the battle go a little bit faster. Fortunately, I get a miss here, but this fight is not very challenging. It's just a matter of making sure you're keeping everyone in good health. If Steiner goes down, this fight becomes a lot more dangerous because he is the person who's going to end it for you. Or, worth mentioning again, there's nothing that good to steal. There are weapons you can steal from this worm for Quina, but Quina's not going to be doing a lot of attacking over the course of the game. Now, the next boss to consider is the Antlion in Slyra. At this point in the game, Vivi is pretty much your MVP, and Vivi is going to be doing a lot of the damage in this battle. Even though Antlion looks pretty intimidating and it has some attacks that look really scary, it does not have any way to knock out more than one party member at a time. And just like all these battles that leading up to this fight, as long as you keep at least 2 people standing, you're fine. You're going to be safe. So the important thing to note is Antlion has a physical counterattack that it will do against any physical attack on it. However, Lancer and other abilities do not count as physical attacks, neither does Blizzara. Magic attacks are fine. So you can have Freya use Lancer, and she'll be able to attack freely. You can have Vivi use Blizzara, and that's fine. And then that leaves Zidane to either heal or steal. Antlion has a couple of attacks you need to worry about. It's got Fira. That's going to be a moderate amount of damage. It has an attack called Trouble Mucus that will inflict the Trouble status effect, that's a bad scene. You want to use Anointment as soon as that happens. What happens if you're troubled? Luckily, this is going to kill Zidane, so I don't have to deal with trouble. But when your character is troubled, what happens is any damage dealt to that character, half as much damage is dealt to everyone else in your party, and that leads to this relatively non-threatening boss suddenly being able to wipe your party. So you want to clear that up as soon as possible. And the attack that is definitely the most scary is the one it's using right now, Sandstorm. Sandstorm, even though it looks like it's doing a tremendous amount of damage, what it's actually doing is setting your party's HP down to single digits and blinding them. That means that it cannot kill you with that attack. It will set you to low HP, and it might be scary looking, but you're actually not in danger. So don't freak out if you get hit with Sandstorm. It can use Sandstorm multiple times. Your party members can actually gain life because it's an HP set instead of actual damage. And the last battle I want to give you some tips on is the second battle with Beatrix. Now, the second battle, by the time you're in Slyra, your party is now capable of dealing with Beatrix. The setup in terms of equipment is basically the same. Freya is, yet again, going to have cover and a coral ring. She's going to be taking all the damage in place of your other party members when they're low on life, and she's going to make sure that they don't get whacked. Except this time, instead of just laying all three back and having Zidane steal, the plan is to attack with Zidane, use Blizzara with Vivi, and then have Freya either heal or pile on with the attacking if everyone is in a good health situation. This battle is not especially dangerous because, yet again, Beatrix does not have an attack that hits every member of your party. It's not until a little bit later on in the game where enemies start having really dangerous all-hitting attacks, except for Gizmaluke, who is just, for some reason, that monster is just the worst. It's really scary. But this is going to be the last battle I show you some tips on. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to keep turning out Final Fantasy IX speedrun tips. The speedrun I'm looking forward to. I'll have a couple of more of these videos for Disc 2 stuff, get some Disc 3 stuff. And so, if you enjoyed this video, please let me know. Please like and subscribe to my channel. And till next time, peace!